Hi, Dr. Willard. My name is Joshua Brooks, and I signed up for the baseball infielder's throw. So we're going to break this play down with the help of Mr. Bill Ripken, former Major League Baseball player, actually an analyst on MLB Network nowadays. He does a great job of trying to explain the infielder's throw as a drill. However, I think it does a great job of showing what all needs to be done for the muscle groups and all the parts that are broken down into it. Now, I've broken the video down to about a quarter of play feedback just to help us decide and see what's going on in the play itself. So I'd like to think it's broken down into three possible systems. The first one is we can see here, but as I've paused it, Bill Ripken is bending over as if a ball is hit to him. This area or motion in the play certainly uses all parts of the body, which is why I think baseball and the infielder's throw is such a unique concept in general. So let's talk about the first part of the play. So as we can see, I'll start the play. He bends down, accepts the ball. Now, this muscle group that's all involved here starts with the core, it starts with the legs, and it starts with the upper part of the body. So those muscle groups in that sort of area are latissimus dorsi, your abdominal muscles, your hips, and your glutes, and of course the lower back muscles too. So the concentric and eccentric muscles and the agonists involved in this, I'll explain those in a second. I would say the concentric muscles here being used are certainly the ab muscles. We're bending over. Those things are definitely shortening and readying and gaining power to stand up and explode out of the stance to deliver the ball. The legs are definitely being used. The glutes and the hips are bending along with the back. Those are your eccentric muscles as they're lengthening out as he's going to stand up. And then, of course, the latissimus dorsi in the upper part of the back near the traps and the shoulders, they're going to start to gather together as he sets into the next part of the play. So we'll just take a second here and watch him as he starts to load up or gather, as we call it in baseball. There's your gather, and there's your step. So as he's coming together like that, the ab muscles are going from concentric to eccentric. So they're going from that shortening state to that lengthening state as he's standing up, as well as the hips and glutes. They're now lengthening to allow him to stand up to a regular stance. Now, as we can see, the latissimus dorsi are starting to contract a little bit because his arms are still coming together, accepting the ball with the glove. Now we'll take the step forward as we see here. He'll take that step. That's the second part we're gonna talk about. So now his ab muscles, as we can see, are completely eccentric. They're lengthening. They're at the top of his possible extension. His right arm and his left arm are separating, getting ready to release the ball. His glutes and his hips are firmly planted into the ground, giving him a state of secureness and a base and a strong base to throw off of. Now, the latissimus dorsi will separate because one of your arms is obviously going to be a throwing arm, but we use that glove arm or that weak arm as a target. So that shoulder where his head is pointing over, that shoulder is always going to want to be your target to wherever you're going. He looks to be in great position. Again, professional ball player, retired, obviously knows what he's doing. So we'll talk about the third part of this motion and talk about all the parts that are coming up next. And there's the release. So as we see, the trunk of his body, his core, upper part and lower part are all rotating. I find this part to be, I guess, the easiest and hardest part of throwing. I mean, you can understand what muscles are being used and what you need to do and all this good stuff. That doesn't mean the ball is going to get to the point that it needs to be. There still needs to be an understanding and a release at the point of contact to understand what we need to do. So We'll talk about the stable back and then the core in this one, because I think your core rotates anywhere from 90 to 120 degrees when you rotate or when you throw the ball. Your abs, your lower back, your glutes, and your hips are all involved with the balanced core, obviously. And then the back, the latissimus dorsi, located on the sides of your back, are helping you rotate and get that ball through. The ironic part here is we don't really talk about the ligaments used in the elbow here, because they're forced in such a way that is uncommon to the body, which is why you see a lot of baseball players have elbow issues and trouble with their UCL. But an important part of this also is you got to have strong arms, you got to have a strong upper back to get that constant motion every day and make that throw in practice and warm-ups, in games, getting ready for the season. It's a primary thing to do. And then finally, I want to talk about the deltoids, the upper part of the shoulder muscle there. They're going to allow that shoulder to rotate during the windup and the cocking phase, and forward when accelerating when throwing the ball. So finally, I'm just going to show you the full speed of the throw by itself, so we don't have to watch it at a quarter of the speed. So we'll back it up to where we were earlier. Sorry about this. I thought I had the right time down. So here we go. He's going to bend at the hips and legs, or hips and knees, get get that core and that stable back involved. Here we go. Explaining the drill. I do apologize. Bends over. Here we go. Transfer. Boom. Right on target. He's going to do it again just for the sake of the drill and explaining to the people at home. But I think this is a great video, great way to explain how the infielder throw is done from any point on the infield. It can be made from second, short, obviously third, first base, and gets the point across. Boom, right on target.